Having a wireless video feed on set is extremely powerful for filmmaking because it allows you to hand off focus pulling to another person, or direct your camera operators in real time, or even coordinate more complex, higher production moves or lighting gags with your entire crew. Honestly, it can even be helpful for situations like this, where I'm filming myself and I just want a better view of my on-camera monitor by bringing it closer to me. It's something I've always had in the back of my mind as a future purchase, but when even the budget models start at like $500, it always made sense to take that money and put it into something more productive, like building out my lighting kit or my lenses. But what if you could get one for just $89 with nearly identical specs to the more expensive models? That's what Shimbol's claiming to do here, so let's see if that's actually true. Quick disclaimer before we get started here, this product was sent to me for free, but they're not paying me for this review. All opinions here are my own, and they're not even seeing this video before it goes up. This is the Shimbol TP Mini wireless video transmitter. These are sleek and lightweight, coming in at just 113 grams each, so you won't be adding a ton of extra weight to your camera rig. I love how compact the design is, but I'm not a big fan of the finish. I prefer all my gear to be very simple and black so that I reduce the risk of seeing that gear in the reflection of something that I'm filming on set. So the red is a bit of a miss for me. But if you don't like the custom dragon decal on it, at least that is just a sticker, so that does come off. On their website, it says that the TP Mini supports video signals up to 1080p, 60 frames per second for a distance of up to 600 feet with a latency of just 70 milliseconds. Let's pause for a second and evaluate what that really means. So the good news is that you actually can transmit signals higher than 1080p. It's just going to be downscaled to 1080p on the receiving end. So I have a Blackmagic 6K camera and it's compatible with that very easily, but again, I'm not seeing that footage in 6K resolution. I'm seeing it downscaled to 1080, which is fine. The big piece of bad news about this product that I need to get out of the way right up front, it does not support 60 FPS in the same way. Yes, you can transmit a 60 FPS signal, but on the receiving end, it will not be 60 FPS. I did a few different tests to try to get this to work, but no matter what I did, it would show a higher frame rate on my camera, but on the receiving video feed with the TP Mini, it would only cap it at what looks like 24, maybe 30 frames per second at most. When it comes down to practical application, I don't really care if I can see 60 frames per second or not, because the overwhelming majority of the time I'm only shooting 24 frames per second anyways, and if I'm using something higher, it's usually for slow motion. So I don't need to see the crisp 60 frames per second when I'm filming anyways. But that's still not a good look for Shimbol as a company when they're making a claim about one thing, but the product doesn't actually support that thing. There needs to be consistency in how this is conveyed, because if you're saying it is a 1080p product, but it can accept higher signals, you should also be saying that it is a 30 FPS product, but it can accept higher frame rates. I have seen other reviewers mention this as well, so I know that it's not just an issue with my particular unit. Taking a quick look at B&H, I found that one of their most popular wireless transmitters is the Hollyland Mars 300 Pro, which has nearly identical specs but comes in at nearly 5 times the price, even though it likely has true 60 FPS support. Considering that that's the only major difference in specs and functionality that I could find, it says a lot about just how affordable they've been able to make the TP Mini. The most confusing part about using the TP Mini was actually just getting them paired and set up. And it wasn't because I missed the very clear markings on which one was the receiver and which was the transmitter, but because I kept looking for instructions on how to set them up and how to pair them, but I couldn't find any. It turns out they're already paired at the factory. You literally just have to turn them on and it works right out of the box, which is fantastic. You can power these units using a USB-C connection from something like a V-mount battery or directly using Sony NP-F batteries. The unit has a battery life of 8 hours on a Sony NP-F 550 battery, which is a very small size, so something like a 770 or a 970 is going to last you all day no matter how long that shoot is. You can press the button on the side to check the battery life or press the button below it to stop transmitting signal. It features a fanless cooling design, which is great, and it means that you won't be picking up any extra noise from the fan in a microphone or something like that. But I did notice the unit getting fairly warm. I didn't have any issues with it, but I am a little bit concerned about using it for long periods on a really hot day. But again, I didn't have any issues firsthand. so take that with a grain of salt. They claim the TP Mini has a latency of 70 milliseconds, and from what I could tell, that seems to be pretty spot on. You will notice the delay, but it is extremely minimal. Honestly, the aperture monitor that I'm using right now, that I've been using for years, actually has a longer delay than the TP Mini does, and it's not transmitting anything. So that should say something about how low the latency is on this. When it comes to signal strength, it's hard to test the claim of 600 feet line of sight because there are a lot of variables that come into play, like how much other interference there is in the environment. But walking around my home, which is 2 floors in an older building, I didn't see any loss of frames or any signal integrity degradation or anything like that. I even went outside for a bit and had no issues. This is generally the kind of range that you're going to be using this unit in anyways. If you frequently work on larger productions or just with larger locations, then maybe play it safe and get a more expensive wireless transmitter than this, just in case. But from my experience, most of us are using this in a relatively small area, certainly not 600 feet. So from what I've been able to tell with my testing, there's no issues using it through several walls, several rooms away, on a different floor, or even outside the building. The image quality looks great to me. I know that some reviewers have mentioned things like compression artifacts, and that will happen at longer ranges or as the signal strength gets weaker. But from my experience, that's not really something you encounter in most scenarios. One thing some of the more expensive transmitters have over the TP Mini is that they'll provide app support, which means you can stream the feed directly to a cell phone. This is really handy if you're in a pinch or you just need a quick second screen, but I don't think for most of us this is something that's that important. It's certainly not a deal breaker for me because most of the time I've already invested the money in a decent camera monitor or screen. I would rather use those. The TP Mini also only supports HDMI, which for most of us is fine, but if you are working with an SDI connection, then you are going to have to look at getting something else because there is no SDI option. On the plus side, because it is HDMI, it is far more universally compatible. So if you want to have a focus puller on set, you might not need to go buy a new monitor. You could just take a computer screen or a TV for something like that, and therefore save a decent amount of money. This also means that you can use this for applications other than just filmmaking. So I've got my PC over here, but let's say I wanted to play a PC game on a bigger screen. I can just hook up the TP Mini to the output of my PC, send that over to the TV, and just play with a wireless controller. With the added delay of the unit, it wouldn't be ideal for like fast-paced, quick reaction gaming, but for things like puzzles, strategy games, or just more casual stuff, this would be perfect. You could also use it to share screens to other devices for presentations or any number of other applications. If you want to start expanding your productions to involve more crew members and hopefully elevate the production overall, you are going to need a secondary monitor, and right now the TP Mini is the most affordable way to deliver a wireless signal. The device definitely isn't perfect, and the 60 FPS issue is probably one of the bigger ones, but despite that, this is $89, and I think for that alone, it does the job quite well, and I can't help but recommend it because there's just nothing else at this price point that competes. What do you think? Is the TP Mini something that you want to pick up? Is the 60 FPS issue something that's a deal breaker for you? Let me know in the comments, but otherwise, I will see you in the next video.